They laughed at him when he walked in. A janitor, old boots streaked with paint, shoulders sagging under years of exhaustion, quietly taking a seat at the very back of the graduation hall. While parents wore suits and expensive perfume, he clutched a torn cap in his calloused hands, eyes searching for just one face, his son. No one knew that beneath the faded uniform shirt, beneath the weary eyes and worn-out smile, he carried a story engraved on his skin, a tattoo burned into his arm by fire, brotherhood, and sacrifice. No one knew that today, a Navy captain would look at that tattoo, recognize it, and break down in tears in front of everyone. Before we move deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and respecting the unnoticed heroes among us, then please like, comment, share this video, and subscribe to channel name. Your support means everything and helps stories like this reach more hearts. His name was Jacob Harris, a single father, once strong, once proud, once feared on the waves of the open ocean. Years ago, before the world turned heavy on him, he wore a Navy uniform with medals across his chest, leading men into storms most wouldn't dare face. But fate has claws, and life doesn't always reward the honorable. Jacob's wife passed away during childbirth, leaving him with a baby boy and memories that cut like glass. He left the Navy just 2 months later, trading oceans for grocery aisles, barracks for small rented rooms, and medals for mop handles. He raised his son Michael on minimum wage, fixing old shoes when they tore, skipping meals to keep him fed, doing every odd job the city could offer. Electrician assistant by morning, janitor by afternoon, warehouse loader by night. Sleep was a luxury he forgot the taste of. There were days he'd return home so exhausted he'd collapse on the floor with shoes still on. Yet, when Michael slept, Jacob would sit beside him, brushing his small hair gently, whispering promises to a child too young to understand sacrifice. "You will have the life I never did, son. I will get you there, even if I have to break myself piece by piece." Those words became his heartbeat. Michael grew up watching his father's hands crack and bleed, seeing how he hid pain behind a gentle smile. They never had much, no fancy toys, no vacations, no new clothes, but they had love, and that was their wealth. Each report card Michael brought home with straight A's was framed with more pride than any Navy medal Jacob ever earned. In school, kids mocked Michael for his dad's job. "Janitor boy," they called him. "Trash man's kid." Once, Michael came home silent and red-eyed. Jacob placed his rough hand on his son's shoulder, heart aching with unspoken guilt. He wanted to give his son more, but all he had to offer was love, guidance, and resilience. And so he told him, not in words served gently, but through actions, showing up at every parent-teacher meeting, helping with homework even when he could barely read the formulas, cheering the loudest at every school event, even if he had to finish mopping hallways at midnight. Years passed. Michael worked hard, fueled by dreams too big for their small world. He earned scholarships, studied late into the night under dim bulbs, worked part-time to lighten his father's burden. His father became his silent inspiration, the man who never quit, even when life beat him to his knees. The day Michael received the acceptance letter from a prestigious university, Jacob cried alone in the washroom so his son wouldn't see his trembling. Not because he was sad, but because despite being worn down by life, he had done something right. And now, graduation day had arrived. Jacob borrowed a white shirt, ironed it 5 times until the creases disappeared. He polished his old boots, combed his graying hair, and tucked his Navy tattoo beneath his sleeve, not because he was ashamed, but because he wanted the spotlight only on his son. He slipped into the ceremony unnoticed, sitting at the farthest corner where the lights barely reached, where other parents wouldn't ask who he was or why he didn't belong. The hall was grand, banners shimmering, cameras flashing, families hugging, mothers dabbing tears with silk handkerchiefs. Jacob watched it all quietly, heart swelling not with envy, but with pride. His boy, his little boy who once held his finger crossing the street, was now walking onto a stage as a man. When the names were called, Jacob leaned forward. His breath stalled. The moment arrived. Michael Harris, valedictorian. The hall erupted with applause. Michael walked across the stage tall and confident, but his eyes scanned the crowd with desperation. He wasn't looking for cameras or for praise. He was searching for one person, the man who built this moment with broken hands. Then he found him. A smile, wide and trembling, crossed Michael's face. He lifted his diploma high, tears glistening. Jacob tried to clap, but his hands shook. The world blurred. His heart felt too full for his chest to hold. And that's when everything changed. As Jacob stood to get a better look, his sleeve slipped slightly, revealing the Navy tattoo, an emblem only a specific group of war survivors bore. A tall man in a decorated white uniform, a Navy captain, froze mid-sentence while greeting another parent. His eyes locked onto Jacob's arm. His face turned pale. Then, slowly, he walked toward Jacob with steps that carried both shock and reverence. Whispers stirred through the audience. Parents turned. Students stared. The captain stopped right in front of Jacob, voice breaking with emotion. He looked at that tattoo, the mark of the Pacific Trench survivors, a classified mission few came home from. A mission most believed claimed everyone. The captain's lips trembled as memories rushed into his eyes, fire on the water, screams, explosions, men disappearing beneath burning waves. And there, always at the front, shielding younger soldiers, pulling wounded out while bullets rained, was Jacob. Jacob remembered him too. The captain had been a young recruit back then, the one Jacob risked his life to save when their ship was struck. The world thought Jacob died with the others. The Navy believed his body was lost at sea. But fate washed him ashore, alive but shattered, and instead of returning, he walked out quietly to raise a son alone, never seeking recognition. The captain dropped to his knees. In front of everyone. He saluted Jacob with trembling hands. Gasps filled the hall. Teachers stopped moving. Mothers clutched their chests. Students watched in disbelief as the unknown janitor became a hero in the blink of an eye. Tears rolled down Jacob's cheeks, not of pride, but of memories too heavy, too buried. He never wanted honor back. He just wanted his boy to succeed. Michael, still on stage, saw everything. He rushed down, diploma clutched to his chest, his voice cracking when he reached his father. Without hesitation, he hugged Jacob tightly, as if holding years of sacrifice in one embrace. The hall stood and applauded, not for medals, not for rank, but for unconditional love. News cameras swarmed, but Jacob kept his head low. Michael took the microphone, voice shaking. He told the room that his father scrubbed floors so he could study, skipped meals so he could eat, gave up his dreams so he could chase his own. He said this man, his father, was the greatest hero he would ever know, Navy or not. The applause grew thunderous. Even teachers cried. For the first time in decades, Jacob felt seen, not as a janitor, not as a forgotten soldier, but as a father who never stopped fighting his quiet war for his son's future. Life shifted after that day. The Navy honored Jacob publicly, granting him medical and service benefits long overdue. Offers flooded in, interviews, speaking invitations, community awards. But Jacob accepted only what allowed him to stay close to his son. He didn't want fame. He wanted time, something he'd spent years trading away. Michael used his degree not for wealth, but to serve veterans and single parents struggling like his father once did. Together, they built a small foundation, offering scholarships to children of janitors, cleaners, and forgotten workers, because no dream should ever be limited by someone's job title. Years later, Michael would tell his own children the story of their grandfather. How a man with calloused hands and a mop in his grasp was more noble than kings. How heroes don't always wear medals, some silently wipe floors so others can walk proudly. And Jacob? He spent his old age sitting on porches with sunlight warming his tired bones, smiling as his grandchildren played in front of him, heart full, finally resting.